We've got 3 surfboards here that we've chosen to ride today. They represent different eras of surfing and what was happening in the 60s. I was offered the opportunity to ride these surfboards and I thought to myself, nobody wants to see an old fart like me. Let's get some young blood in. Hawke family are they're probably one of the oldest surfboard manufacturers in Western Australia.
About 1958 we started, but we've been making wooden boards and things before that, and it just came that Peter rang me to say from over east, "You got any money? Would you? We're going making boards." I said, "Yeah, I got money." Yeah, for 30 quid. But that's how we started anyway.
The Hawke family have kindly let us lend whatever they've brought in. We've decided that it's a great idea to promote the gallery and indeed the legacy of the Hawke family. My name's Bill Gibson. I'm one of the curators of the WA Surf Museum here at Aravina Estate. We operate this on a voluntary basis. Surfing WA assists us, and Aravina Estate has been kind enough to lend us the space, and the surfboards come from everybody. So this is a collection that belongs to the West Australian surfing public. All of us have a certain passion for surfing and its history. So surfing has a young history, but it's one that should be recorded before it's lost. And that's one of our tasks in this surf gallery. These young guys really know what they're talking about because they run moonshine surfboards and they do a lot of traditional and old style surfboards, and a lot of people are looking for their surfboards these days, but they do understand a lot of these old surfboards.
A lot of our designs come from these boards that I've seen over the years, so we tend to try and take all the positives out of these old boards and try and really push that and progress it with the boards that we're doing now. Bringing especially a lot of people from WA off the generic performance shortboard that might not be fitted to every surfer out here, and really sort of just pushing an alternative route. So first of all we have a classic nose rider log, probably about 64, 65. This is what logs of the day came to. So before we went into a transition era, we were riding these sorts of boards. Now this one here is just a beautiful surfboard all round. And Jack, you were noticing the rails and the bottom of the board. So just explain to us a little bit about what you see in this board. Well, it looks like a really functional outline, not too dissimilar to what we're making today, with the wide point set back a little bit so that you can throw the nose around a little bit more, but also it locks in the pocket when you are standing on the nose. What was interesting about the bottom is that, as opposed to some of the early old mows, it doesn't belly right up to the stringer. It's sort of got this planed out flat section that runs from the fin all the way to probably a foot up from the nose. Which probably stops a little bit of drag and makes it go a little bit quicker than what some of the old mows used to. And then it's really foiled out through the rails, so it looks like it will really lock in and engage with the wave.
A lot of people are riding these sorts of shapes today. They've got quite knifey rails. The rails started to be not so boxy, and these sort of surfboards, they still go great. You know, I mean, for a board that's 1965, this board will ride really, really well. David Hawke's done some restoration work. Dave, what have you done to this surfboard and where did it come from?
I picked it up in the early 90s. A gentleman, the kid was given by his grandfather to use, but he wanted a shortboard, so I bought it off him for, I actually paid twice as much as he asked for it because it was a really good example. The only work I've done to it is a couple of repairs just on the nose and the side. The rest of it haven't done any work.
Jack.
Yeah, Jack, is it?
Great to meet you.
Good, thank you.
And this is Evan.
Yeah, good, Evan.
Nice to meet you.
Good, you mate.
Great to meet you.
All those boards, Peter shaped them, and I've actually glassed most of them, but that's the way it was to start with, and we've always tried to do the best we can. It was always a pleasure with Peter and me, and we had a lifetime of luxury, I will say, I suppose, because life's been a joy all the time, and we've tried hard, and we've actually succeeded.
And then we go to something like this, which is the start of the transition period. Now, they changed in that these boards are stringerless. They don't have a stringer in them, which is, I suppose they were done possibly for flex in the surfboard. So it's got a beautiful paisley inlay, and they were a product of the time. We were all in a hippie era, and these were kind of hippie surfboards, you know. So how did you get these ideas? Because it was before internet, and it was before those sorts of things. So we're pretty isolated in Western Australia, aren't we?
We used to always be looking for something that was different, something that was new, and that's always been our ambition. That didn't matter whether we didn't like copying someone else, we liked to be in front, and that's always been the lifestyle. And I think that's the reason why boards and all these, we're always up with the latest and that in WA.
This is a 1968 Flower Power surfboard, probably shaped by Peter Hawke, glassed by Len Hawke. It's a transition board, so by that it's stringerless. It's starting to get shorter. They got beautiful raking fins. The inlay in the board was probably picked out by Jeanette Hawke, which is Len's wife.
Is that the ball dress?
Yeah, that's the ball dress.
It came off one of my workers' wives' dresses. He decided that would look lovely on a board, and that's how that change got about, but it was the Flower Power era, I think.
This was a ball dress that Tony Harrison, ex-missus, used to wear. So the fabric became useful on a surfboard afterwards. We had a good laugh when Tony brought that up. Tony used to work for Hawke Surfboards. He used to finish surfboards at Hawke's. They're still good friends.
It's funny, the fins on them is actually, I guess that Grano rake sort of style hasn't actually changed a whole lot since 1967, 68.
This one would have been a little bit later, still a stringerless, but the start of the shortboard era.
Yeah.
And hard to ride, but a thing of its time. So these boards were transitioning into shorter boards, weren't they?
Yeah, well, that was all Peter's
And you had young blokes like Murray Smith coming in as well with new ideas too. So I know Jack and Evan looked at this one and just thought this was something special. Yeah, so what do you reckon, Evan?
I don't reckon I've ever surfed a board anything like it.
Yep. And Jack, what do you think of it?
Like, how hard would it be to hand shape one of these boards? Like,
Yeah.
it's fully scooped out in the nose and then it's rolled in the belly here on the deck, and then it looks like it's been rolled all the way underneath as well. Like, something like this is it's a very intricate design. It definitely reflects, like what Len was saying, how Peter must have been very innovative and progressive with his design, because there's so many features that are different and out of the ordinary to probably what was being shaped at the time.
This one's the one that drew us to deciding that we wanted to ride these boards. This belongs to Richard Hawke, which is Len's son, and this one's the one that's from my era. So I started surfing about this time, 68, 69, and this was one of my dream boards. What do you think about the fin placement on this board?
Pretty far forward, probably the furthest forward I've ever seen.
I think it's just different, and I've never surfed or even seen anything like it in the flesh. And I guess it just marks a bit of history in WA. Really, it was what got us from old mouths to shortboards. Really,
there was so many different ideas, and they were all coming out at once. And this is between this one, this Paisley one, and this one here, there's only probably a year, 6 months difference, and yet they've changed so radically in that time.
yeah.
So you've done everything in fiberglass.
Yeah.
There isn't anything you haven't built in fiberglass.
Been progress from surfboards and then into water tanks, into surf cats, boats, canoes, kayaks, so everything in fiberglass. Diving boards, even cricket bats, hockey sticks
Yeah.
for Dennis Lilly with his bats.
Wow.
Brian Glencross with the hockey sticks.
Yeah.
Everything in fiberglass. That's amazing, isn't
If
it?
it was fiberglassable, we made it. And even all the signs, like the telephone on top of the car for dial of pictures and all
Yeah,
that
right.
sort of thing.
And you cut all those blanks and put the stringers in yourself?
I used to cut and glue them and make all the boards, just cut the stringer to some sort of a shape and give the blank a bit of shape.
Yep.
Do you know if there was any progression in the blanks at all from say these blanks to these blanks? Was there much difference in the foam that
There
you were
was
using?
originally, the original foams weren't made and they were only very soft,
Yeah.
and we designed with the chemist
High
hard
density.
blank, solid, that wouldn't move, and the biggest thing was getting them so they didn't discolour. So therefore, with
Yeah,
a board
like
like
this.
that, it's 50, 60-year-old and they still haven't
Yeah.
discoloured. Where a lot of them, they did discolour the first board.
Yeah.
And then we were the virtual one, the only one making blanks. So we had to design and get the blank material to suit. I reckon it's magic to have the young blokes back into the old days boards and stuff. And I'm just hoping that they appreciate it themselves, you know.
Absolutely.
It's like
Yeah, it's an
all
honour.
things that come to those, you know, we're just hoping everything works out good. I appreciate them.